The story begins by showing a prison in Boston, where the hero of our story, Spenser, is happily reading the newspaper Another Prism Library. Spenser was no ordinary man, but a tough cop. Now you might be wondering why the police are in a prisoner's uniforms. Actually, 5 years ago, Spenser had gone to the house of a corrupt senior officer, Boylan, to question him. But as Spenser opens the door and walks inside, he's blown away. In front of him, the Boylan's wife was crying, frightened and covered in bruises. What happened next was, Spenser's temper flared up, and he beat up his own arrogant senior officer in public, because Spenser can take anything. But not the oppression of women at all, and this was the reason why today he is serving the punishment for raising his hand on a senior officer. But you know what the thing about happiness is? Today Spenser's punishment has completed, and he is about to be released. But some of the prisoners in the prison think they're muscle men. They surrounded Spenser to give him a farewell gift. But the poor people did not know that their father was sitting in front of them. Spenser steps out of jail after scratching all their itches and giving them a great treat. Standing outside the jail to welcome him was his close friend and retired police officer Henry. Also, Spenser's ex-girlfriend was coming to pick him up. But Spenser was not in the mood to meet him right now. That's why he tells Henry, brother, to drive the car away from here immediately. Henry takes Spenser to his father's vacant apartment without delay, so he can relax there for a few days. Spenser is also visited there by another old police friend, Driscoll. Driscoll asks Spenser, "So friend, after losing your job and serving a 5-year punishment, what do you plan to do next?" Spenser replies that he's just going to chill with his life. Driscoll says, "Okay, then remember me if you need me," and he leaves. Then Spenser goes to his angry dog to convince her, because she's been waiting for Spenser for the last 5 years. Well, Spenser thought he would be alone in this flat. But then Henry brings another strong man, Hawk, there. Henry explains that Hawk's father was his friend from school, and now Hawk is all alone in the world and he's also just gotten out of prison. So Henry is taking responsibility for that, which means Spenser and Hawk now had to live under the same roof. Sharing room with Spenser was nothing short of torture. But brother, Spenser kept watching the U-turn his dog took. Instead of coming to him, she went to Hawk. Spenser's heart broke. Ego is trashed and he screams like Hawk stole his property, not his dog. The story of shifts to Captain Boylan. The same corrupt officer, who was beaten up by Spenser 5 years ago, was driving home in his car at night. But then he gets an emergency call from one of his junior police friends, who calls him to a bus terminal. But as soon as Boylan reaches there suddenly, yes, it was a trap set by Boylan's own friend and some thugs to trap him. Who knows Boylan did, but the thugs, without listening to anything, take out their knives and kill Boylan. The next morning, the whole city of Boston is shaken by 2 news stories. The first news is that Captain Boylan has been brutally murdered. And the second news is that the body of Terence, the same junior officer friend of Boylan, is found inside the same van, due to which the goons had come to kill Boylan last night. The police's initial investigation theory was that Terence had first murdered Captain Boylan and then, out of fear, shot himself. Spenser, watching the news on TV, can't believe his eyes because he knew Terence very well, who was an honest cop, and he could never do something like this. At that moment, someone comes to visit Spenser, who was Driscoll and a friend of his. Driscoll was here to investigate. He clearly stated that the police also suspect Spenser of Boylan's murder. Hearing this, Henry says that Spenser was here all night. Driscoll says he's not scaring her, but telling her as a friend. But Spenser knew the real reason was that all the corrupt officers were angry with him and were just venting their anger. Spenser wasn't going to sit quietly after smelling the strange smell of this case. Even though he was suspended, he was still a policeman. He goes straight to meet Terence's wife, who knew the police would quickly hush up the case and close it. Spenser asks, "Did Terence have a fling with Captain Boylan?" Dia tells what kind of problem it is. The two became close friends, and Boylan often took Terry out for drinks. As things look more serious, Spenser tells Dia to stay alert and heads to a local bar with cops to find out the truth for himself. Arriving at the bar, Spenser takes one of Terence's close friends to a corner and asks him what's been going on between Terence and Boylan. To which he reveals in a low voice that Terence had shared his heart with him. He suspected that Captain Boylan was a corrupt and dirty cop and was secretly gathering evidence against him. Then enters a new sergeant named Macklin, who is promoted to replace Terence after his death. Macklin and his accompanying police officers are on fire when they spot Spenser, just released from jail, being questioned at a bar in their area. He starts staring at Spenser and the atmosphere becomes very serious. They even get into an argument, and the argument Macklin punches Spenser. Spenser was not one to sit quietly. He also gives Macklin a couple of angry looks, but all the policemen attacked him. After getting a full plate of punch at a bar and getting the thrown out, our hero Spenser suddenly noticed a CCTV camera in the shop opposite the bar. He goes to the shop owner to find out the truth, but when the idea does not work, Spenser Terror uses his anger. He steals the shopkeeper's entire CCTV hard disk without informing him. Not to understand the murder case, he asked for help from Hawk. And when they check the footage from that night, the brothers find a big clue. On the night of the murder, Terence leaves the bar and gets into a yellow supercar that someone else owned. As for Terence's blue van, it was being driven by someone else who was chasing that yellow car. Spenser suspected that the two vehicles had gone directly to the bus terminal where Boylan's body was found. Spenser does not waste a moment and goes straight to the crime scene to investigate. It was true that Boylan's car was hit by Terence's van, but someone else was driving it because the terrace was in the yellow car. Spenser realized that this entire game was pre-planned. That is, this conspiracy was hatched to first murder Boylan, then murder Terence and put the entire blame on the terrace. Then Spenser finds a chewed-up toothpick on the ground. Spenser immediately understands who has this nasty of chewing on toothpicks. Spenser immediately goes to Driscoll and asks him what he was doing at the murder scenes. But Driscoll, now promoted to Boylan's position, flatly denies that he ever went there. The smell of betrayal had become stronger now. Spenser then arrives at a boxing ring looking for Hawk for the stop actually. After Hawk got out of jail, Henry wanted him to become a professional boxer. So he had Spenser become Hawk's coach. Spenser teach him the basics of boxing. After finishing their training, both brothers go to a cafe to have some food. Then suddenly Spenser's ex-girlfriend Dia appears there. She angrily asks, "Why did not you come to see me after you got out of jail?" Spenser lies that he's moving to Arizona permanently and does not want to cause her any more trouble. Dia also gets emotional and gives him a small memorable moment as a farewell. Then, as they leave the cafe, Spenser's eagle-eyed gaze falls directly on the same yellow supercar driving down the street that he saw on CCTV. Spenser, without missing a beat, takes the shortcut and chases after the car. But today the poor guy had bad luck. On the way, your neighborhood dog chases Spenser, and in the process of chasing the car, Spenser tears his pants. The dog attacks Spenser badly. But at the right moment, the dog's owner comes out and is called the same, and Spenser comes back to life. But by then the yellow car leaves from there. Spenser angrily walks into the boxing gym and yells at Hawk, "You bastard, I was getting bitten by a dog and you were standing there like a ghost watching the spectacle. If you had helped, that the car driver would have been caught." But then Hawk calmly uses mind and says, "Don't shout, brother. I have secretly noted down the number of that car. 895. Spenser gets a smile on his face when he hears this and he's happy with Hawk. Spenser then goes straight to the RTO office to find out who the real owner of the yellow car is. But here, due to being suspended, he clearly refuses to give any kind of private information to RTO officer Spenser. But Spenser threatens her that if she does not give him the information, he will tell everyone that he gave him information for money several times before, which will put her job in danger. To save his job, he gives her the information and the name that comes up on the computer screen in Charles, a major drug lord and illegal businessman in the city. Spenser knew Charles's haunts well, so he takes Hawk and Henry and sits down to spy on Charles at a bus stop across the street. Sitting there, Spenser tells Henry and half about Charles's horrific history. Charles was not just a drug dealer, he was a hitman willing to kill anyone for money. But the hands of big powerful people were on his head. That is why till date the police have never been able to touch him. Spenser explains that 10 years ago when he was in the police force, he was assigned to protect the government's work on gentrification in the urban area. The poor people there were leaving their lands due to lack of money. But a girl had clearly refused to give her land, and to eliminate that girl from the way, some rich businessman had given a contract to Charles, and after 2 weeks Spenser found that body of that girl. And when Spenser submitted the murder case file to the department, the group of research immediately closed the case. Spenser then investigated alone and found CCTV footage clearly showing 3 of Charles's thugs murdering the girl. But when he took this evidence to Boylan laughed and said that the video was edited. Concentrate on the work of clearing the land quietly. Spenser's blood boiled at the sight of this rotten and sold-out system. He went straight to Boylan's house, and as you know, he beat Boylan so much that he ended up in jail for 5 years. Now that it is clear that senior police officers were partners in Charles's illegal business. Knowing all this, Spenser, Henry and Hawk vow to no longer rely on the law. He will clear the name of innocent Terence in his own way and destroy these traitors. In anger, Hawk punches the tire of Charles's favorite car. The next day, Spenser starts stalking Charles like Psy. While chasing, Spenser reaches a place where he is stunned. Charles was meeting with none other than Macklin, the same sergeant who was promoted in place of Terence. Macklin secretly takes a large bag full of money from Charles. This was pure drugs and corruption bribe money. But the real twist in the story comes when Spenser meets 2 FBI agents there. The agent was also secretly monitoring Macklin because the FBI had long suspected that Macklin and several senior Boston police officers were colluding with these undercover criminals to play a big game. Seeing Charles and Macklin together suddenly reminds Spenser of the prison inmate he had a fight with on his release day. Spenser knew that the prisoner had previously been a major drug dealer. So he goes back to the prison to get information out of him. First he asks the prisoner, who told you to attack me and why is the FBI after all the corrupt officers? But that prisoner was very clever. He flatly refuses to open his mouth. Then Spenser directly video calls Henry. And brother, do you know what Hawk was doing there? He was having fun sitting on a date with that prisoner's wife. Seeing this, the prisoner gets nervous. Spenser says on top of that, you're probably going to be in prison for a long time. So your wife is looking for another partner. And if you don't want my friend to do anything wrong with your wife, then quietly answer my questions. The prisoner is finally forced to his knees and nervously blurts out a secret code word, Wonderland. But he starts laughing as soon as he says it. Why is showing his teeth? On which the prisoner says that you are going to die very soon. No one can save you. Well, without paying much attention to what he says, Spenser meets up with his old friend Wayne at a port to find out the truth about that secret code. Wayne reveals that Wonderland is not a children's play place, but a luxury suicide casino used by a large underworld gang to cover up international drug smuggling. We are corrupt police, craft leaders, and rich businessmen all together do black business is worth millions of dollars every week. Now hearing this answer, understood why Captain Boylan had suppressed the murder case of that poor girl, because these underworld mafias wanted to grab Date Girl's land and open a new branch of the casino there. Spenser arrives at the Wonderland casino to see the truth with his own eyes. There, seeing his strange behavior and strong security guards surround him. But brother Spenser had the perfect heart of lying. He engages both the security guards in his conversation and goes away from there. We then see Captain Boylan and Terrence's funeral taking place in the city. There Macklin laments his new boss Driscoll that this is Spenser is poking too much into our case. I am afraid the bastard might collect some evidence. The same Driscoll who was pretending to be Spenser's friend. He says with full confidence, do not worry. I have given Charles Shooters his contract. His game is over today. And indeed, while Spenser is on the way to buy a pizza from a restaurant, some thugs with guns attack him. Meanwhile, Hawk was sitting in the car and listening to the song happily. But as he looks, Spenser's life is in danger. Hawk, without thinking about anything, he drives straight into the shop, smashes the window, picks up Spenser and runs away. On the way, Spenser tells Hawk that they are now the target of the underworld mafia. So they will have to go somewhere else. Spenser then takes Hawk and Henry to the house of his ex-girlfriend Dia. Dia first throws a tantrum saying, get this Henry out of my house. This old man has spoiled Spenser. But when she hears the whole horrifying story, her heart melts and she allows them to hide in her house. Meanwhile, when Terrence's wife returns home from her husband's funeral, she finds the entire house in a mess. She immediately calls Spenser. Spenser suspected that Terrence had hidden something in the house that the goons had come to find. So he tells her to tell him whatever it is. She pulls out a secret audio recording from her purse that Terrence wanted to give to the FBI before he died. Tia relents and gives the audio recording to Spenser. Spenser also wanted Tia to take her baby and go away for a few days. But Tia says she will handle everything. When Spenser played the whole recording, he understands the whole scam is exposed. Another recording, Terrence, an honest police officer, advises his senior officer Boylan to get out of this mess. Terrence says he'll get Boylan a job somewhere new. Just tell Boylan the names of all the group officers and other people involved in this illegal business. Boylan agrees and reveals that Charles handles all of the underworld's operations. Charles is over Macklin and the real father of this none other than Driscoll. But before Terrence could submit the report to the FBI, Driscoll gears wind of it, and this is where the biggest revelation happens. The one who killed Terrence and Boylan wasn't some thugs, but Driscoll himself. After knowing the truth, Spenser goes strength to meet Driscoll alone and shows him the proof and says that you have been my old friend. So I am politely asking you to surrender to the FBI. But at Driscoll there was an intoxication of black money worth millions. He laughs and threatens Spenser, saying you're still alive. Spenser goes strength to the FBI against the audio recording without arguing. But those agents raise their hands saying that this big fish will prove this audio to be edited in the court. We need real evidence of drug consignment. Now Spenser is completely out of his mind. He storms Charles's hideout and beats him up, so that Charles spills the entire location of the next drug consignment. Spenser and Hawk are then waiting on the highway for the vehicle carrying the drugs and spotting it. Hawk smashes the car's window with a hammer, and after beating both thugs further, Spenser steals the entire truck full of drugs and hides it in Dia's garage. His plan was to call the FBI strength away in the morning and hand over Van and Charles to them. But then another problem arises. Old Henry has been kidnapped from home. Driscoll calls and threatens her. If you want to see Henry alive, bring all our goods to Wonderland casinos, or you will get the old man's dead body. Here in the Wonderland grounds, Driscoll and Charles's entire group are waiting for Spenser with weapons. But then instead of Spenser, Dia enters her car, and in the course of conversation she breaks Henry out of their captivity, and at that very moment, Spenser and Hawk arrive with an 18-wheeler huge container truck and destroy the mafia's vehicles. Driscoll runs towards the warehouse in fear. Spenser follows him inside the warehouse as well. But Charles's goons block Spenser's path. Then our burly Hawk shows his strength and tells Spenser, "Go ahead, brother, I will beat these bastards alone." Hawk single-handedly starts fighting the entire group like a fighter. No, Spenser and Driscoll were face to face. Spenser was not about to let these traitors die so easily. He throws away his gun and challenges Driscoll to a one-on-one fight like a true man. A barrage of kicks and punches ensues between both, and finally Spenser breaks Driscoll's legs and knocks him out. He ties up the entire Wonderland gang with the same stolen drug shipment and hands them over to the FBI. The court and the FBI punish all these criminals with the harshest. News starts running on national TV that Terence was not a murdered but a true and honest patriotic policeman. Terence's name is completely cleared. The story ends with Spenser, Hawk, Henry and Dia sitting in a cafe, celebrating their grand victory. Then the news of another corrupt cop comes on TV, and Spenser's eyes again see that same spark of justice. And with these, our story ends here for today. So guys, if you have watched the video till here and have not even commented yet, what are you doing? Friends, please leave a sweet comment. See you soon. Take care.